Welcome to MojoPlays, and today we're looking at 10 PS2 games that never left Japan. For this list, we'll be looking at weird Japanese games that never made their way stateside. For the most part, these games are aimed at a Japanese audience, but some of them could have made it out of Japan if they weren't so wordy. What game do you wish made its way to North America? Let us know in the comments. Before we continue, we publish content all week long. Be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to be notified about our latest video. Initial D, Special Stage. Initial D may be one of the best car-related animes ever. There have been many arcade games from the iconic drifting series, and a handful of them ended up leaving Japan. However, there was a PS2 game that never made it to us in the West. Initial D, Special Stage didn't stray far away from the arcade games. You race against other racers from the amazing manga. Special Stage also had a story mode unlike its arcade counterparts. Initial D Special Stage is an arcade drift racer, so don't expect a driving sim here. The game is full of JDM horsepower and anime flair. The Rumblefish. With a name like that, it's no wonder this 2D fighter never made its way outside of Japan. The Rumblefish isn't a game changer when it comes to fighting games, but it's still a solid fighting gem that could have found a bigger fan base. The Rumblefish is praised for its ability to create easy combos and dual gauges. You'll have an offense and defense gauge, each filling accordingly to your offensive and defensive capabilities. Filling the gauges will allow for more damage, and if both are full, they'll merge into the critical gauge that can be unleashed for max damage.
You lose.
Namco X Capcom. Is there anything better than a crossover game? Namco X Capcom took the two iconic Japanese publishers and put each of their rosters head-to-head in a tactical action RPG setting. It features over 200 characters from classic Namco and Capcom games, which is most likely why it didn't leave Japan, as some of these characters never left either. The gameplay is unique here, with battles playing out in two phases. The first stage is your typical tactic game. Simply move your character in the grid to get in position and prepare for phase 2, which is where the action is. While not a super in-depth fighter, the RPG elements make up for it. Namco X Capcom never left Japan, like I said, mostly due to the roster not being as well known outside of Japan, as well as the wordy story that would have been difficult to translate. Kuma Uta. This game screams Japanese weirdness in its best form. Kuma Uta stars a polar bear that leaves his peaceful polar bear life to pursue his dream of becoming a singer. We don't get to play as the bear, as fun as that would be, but instead help Kuma create lovely music. We suggest an array of topics for Kuma to write about, and he'll burst out songs for us to approve. This all seems rather straightforward, but the real kicker here is that no songs are pre-recorded, so we're not going to hear the same song from playthrough to playthrough. Tales of Destiny, Director's Cut. The Tales series has a few PS2 games that never left Japan, the most notable being the Tales of Rebirth and Tales of Destiny Director's Cut. The Director's Cut amped up everything from the original release. Stats were buffed to higher numbers, taking your puny 999 character stats and maxing them to just under 2,000. Tales of Destiny Director's Cut also included a second difficult ranking that was introduced in Tales of Destiny 2. However, the coolest new feature has to be the new stage called Rank 6, which essentially is a boss rush mode. Everyone loves a good boss rush. Fantasy Zone Complete Collection. There were many volumes of the Sega Ages series. The Sega Ages line included remakes, ports, and compilations of classic Sega games. The Sega Ages 2500 line was a great budget line for these ports, remakes, and compilations, coming in at 2,500 yen. While there were many great titles in this line, the final release is full of classic cute shoot-'em-up action. Fantasy Zone Complete Collection is the ultimate collection of the cult Sega Classic series Fantasy Zone and includes 8 games in the series. Maybe if this collection had left Japan, we'd have more fans of Fantasy Zone. Hungry Ghost. Japan knows how to do survival horror, and most of the PS2 survival horror classics made their way out of Japan. Hungry Ghost didn't. Hungry Ghost is a Kingsfield clone that we missed out on. The controls will feel similar to FromSoft's Kingsfield series, but focuses more on the mythological lore of a hungry ghost, which is referred to in Buddhist scripture. Hungry Ghost oozes with creepy set pieces and even creepier ghosts and excellent audio that only ups the eerie atmosphere. Vibripple. A follow-up to the 1999 PS1 cult classic Vibribbon, Vibripple is just like its predecessor, allowing the players to import a piece of media, this time photos, and transform them into a playable level. While Vibripple has 60 photos or levels in the game, players can upload their photos from a camera or a cell phone via the PS2's USB port or over an online network. Once we have our photo uploaded to the game, gameplay starts. The photo is essentially turned into a trampoline. As we jump on them, PETA characters will emerge from the photo for us to collect. Simply complete this before the time expires and you'll move on to another photo. This is a weird one for sure, but there's something charming about Vibri. Shadow Tower Abyss. Nowadays, we see From Software as a top-tier developer, but they weren't always seen in that light. Before creating the Souls-like genre and one of the best games of all time in Elden Ring, From Software created strange role-playing games like Kingfield and Shadow Tower Abyss. The game has players ascending the tower, all while encountering enemies. The thing that sets Shadow Tower Abyss apart from other classic FromSoft games is the sheer number of unique weapons with 500 available. Shadow Tower Abyss almost made its way out of Japan, as an English version was in the works, but was ultimately cancelled. Chain Dive. Full of over-the-top action that makes you feel cool when pulling off combos, Chain Dive is one of the games that could have easily been localized, but sadly never was. Chain Dive is pure fun action, with a story that just keeps you going from level to level. Evil invades, and it's up to Shark with his blade and plasma chain to save the world from the invaders. The gameplay is rather simple, chain together combos with your blade and chain. While you're doing this, the camera will zoom in and out, making the game feel much faster and more action-packed. Chain Dive somewhat made it out of Japan. A demo of the game was released in the US with the official PlayStation Magazine, Volume 79, but the game was never released. Did you enjoy this video? Check out some other clips from MojoPlays, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.